So now we're going to talk about the pelvis, and we're going to talk about how that relates to the spine. The pelvis is one of the most important parts to finding relief through our lower back. A lot of times in our society, we see people and we hear from people that have tightness of the lower back or pain in their lower back. We also find a lot of tightness in the hips or even pain in the hips. And the reason this is because of the position of our pelvis. Our daily lives in society sort of dictate a little bit more of seated position, and that has unfortunately wreaked havoc on our spine, and especially the pelvis and the lower spine, where that all relates and connects in together. One of the things that we can do to counteract and help relieve some stress and pain from that area of the body is an exercise called imprint and release. Where imprint and release is very, very important is that it helps us find that movement and really, really refine that movement back in our lower spine and in our pelvis. And when we find that good connection, then we have a really good ability to find relief from those areas. The reasons that we have tightness and we have pain from our lower back is because we spend a lot of time with our pelvis tucked and rolled into this position. So our vertebrae are stretched a lot longer, plus they're also not stacked anymore. And the other thing that we find is that those muscles on our lower back are now really, really stretched. Everything on the front side is being pulled really, really tight, so compressing downward. But everything on the back is really just getting stretched and stretched. So when these muscles are constantly on stretch, constantly on pull, it creates a lot of stress within them. So then that translates to pain. So what we need to do is we need to work on movement of that pelvis to start relieving stress and creating movement through muscles on the front side of the body and the back side of the body. So as I alluded to earlier, we're going to do an exercise called imprint and release. So what we're looking for with our imprint and release is the same thing that we found with our breathing and with our ribcage movement. Is when we exhale, that's generally when we want to curve the spine. We want to flex the spine forward. When we inhale is when we want to extend the spine again. So as we exhale, we're going to take and find our imprint position. Our imprint position is when we start to curl the lower pelvis towards us. We're scooping those abdominals in, and we're taking that pubic symphysis and raising that up towards our face. As we inhale, we release the spine back down. We create that natural curve back underneath our back in the ground. And then we also find our hip pointers and our pubic bone is all at the same position, parallel with the floor. I like to go just a little bit deeper into that neutral position, because when we go a little bit deeper into that, we actually have the ability to activate those lower back muscles that draw the pelvis into that position. So I really like to play with that movement as well. So I like to take this a little deeper than just imprint release. I like to take it imprint release to neutral, maybe just slightly past. Don't ever do anything if you feel pain or if you feel tightness, sharpness, or anything like that. Do not go any further into that exercise. But if you can, I always like to see just a little bit extra neutral or extra movement past neutral to get those lower back muscles to start firing. So we're going to come into our exercise, and as I said before, our exhale is going to always take us into our flexion exercise. So as we exhale, we roll the pelvis towards us. Notice that my lower spine is now coming into the ground and touching the ground. As I inhale, I'm releasing my pelvis back to that neutral position, and then I'm going to take it just a little further. I'm then going to exhale, roll my pelvis back into that imprinted position. Lower back is now touching the ground, spine is a little bit more flat. Inhale, I'm releasing, rolling, and now I find that curve again. We want to go as slow as we can to the point where we don't find any shakes. If we're moving really, really fast through this movement and we're finding shapes shifting from side to side, we want to slow that movement down, because our main intention is to get very, very smooth movement. When we have smooth movement, it tells us that we're engaging all of those muscles within that muscle group. So all of the muscles that should be acting to fire and take the body into that position are doing that, especially when we're not finding any kind of shakes. So I'm still just rolling my pelvis through this imprint and release. But even at doing this, you're probably already starting to find a little bit of relief from your lower back. And the reason is because we're taking those muscles, we're stretching them out, and then we're also engaging them. So we're giving them a nice little massage. We're trying to incorporate hydration into them. We're interacting with them like a sponge in a sense. So we're taking those sponges and we're massaging them and we're trying to get hydration back into them. So let's go ahead and do this a couple more times. And inhale, release, taking that a little past neutral, and then let's find neutral again. So again, the reason that we do this exercise is it's so beneficial for everything related to the lower portion of the body. Lower back gets exercise. Our front portion of our lower abdominals gets exercise. We feel a better connection to our spine, especially when we find this smooth movement from our pelvis. We have the ability to relieve a lot of that stress within the lower back. So this is one of my favorite exercises, and this is one of the things that I teach to everybody, no matter if you're a beginner or a novice or you've been doing this for a very, very long time. This is always the thing that I go back to because the pelvis relates to so many different issues, and if we find movement and we find smooth, strong movement through that, we're going to be able to release or relieve any type of pain that we can create within our lower spine. So I appreciate you being with me today, and we will be back for another exercise. Talk to you later.